Good evening, I'm Jeff Glor, and we are going to begin here tonight with America's final farewell to a president. A funeral was held today in George H.W. Bush's hometown in Houston, where he was praised as a father, grandfather, and friend. Then the 41st president took his final journey by special presidential train. Thousands turned out to pay respects as that casket went by. There was a military flyover, including the Missing Man Formation, the Navy's largest ever. Upon arrival at the burial site, George H.W. Bush's presidential library on the campus of Texas A&M University. CBS This Morning's Bianna Golodryga reports on this day's events from Houston.
Our Father.
Former President George H.W. Bush was carried through Houston's St. Martin's Episcopal Church this morning for a final public goodbye.
Who art in heaven.
Mr. Bush's former Secretary of State and close friend James Baker remembered a man willing to listen to advice until he'd heard enough. But standing just a few feet from the casket, Mr. Baker then painfully bid his close friend and mentor farewell.
Because our glory, George, was to have had you as our president and as such a friend.
George P. Bush, Jeb Bush's son and the oldest grandchild, remembered the family patriarch.
George Herbert Walker Bush is the most gracious, most decent, most humble man that I will ever know. God bless you, Gampy, until we meet again.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
In his homily, family Reverend Russell Levinson Jr. invoked the same prayer Mr. Bush had read at his presidential inauguration in 1989.
For we are given power not to advance our own purposes, nor to make a great show in the world, nor a name. There is but one just use of power,
and it is to serve people. Help us remember, Lord. Amen.
But now I see.
Following the service, the nation's 41st president was placed on a train marked 4141 for the 70-mile trip to his burial on the grounds of the Bush Presidential Library. Thousands paused along the way for the historic moment. Across the country, 250 buglers played taps, and in College Station, there was a 21-aircraft naval flyover, marking the end of an extraordinary week of mourning late this afternoon, where Mr. Bush was buried alongside his 3-year-old daughter Robin and his wife Barbara. George and Barbara Bush were active members of the St. Martin's Church for over 50 years. This is where they sat, right under the window pane of St. George. It was dedicated to Barbara Bush by her husband and their family. Jeff?
Okay, Bianna, thank you very much from inside the church tonight.